Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Hope y'all can hear me all right. I'll get started in just a moment. I'm just got my screens up here and got the chat here live. Just want to take some time to hang out with you guys and be able to go through some of your questions if you have any. So be sure to post if you would like to have a question. Now's the time. I have my cup of coffee here. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. If y'all could do me a favor, post what you're doing right now, like where you are. I'm curious, like who's at work, who's driving, who's at home chilling. Just kind of post where you happen to be right now. I like it. Very, very cool. Very cool. Let me see if I can bring this down here. Yeah. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this special Thanksgiving, or as I would sometimes say with my dad, Happy Thanksgiving. Pray that you all are doing well. If not, this is a good place to jump into. And I figured I didn't have a topic in mind that I wanted to get into. I didn't have a specific area of questions that I was getting into. In fact, I've done a lot of work in getting topics happening and things going on. So just wanted to have a free-floating interaction and just interact with you guys and people. I don't always get the chance to kind of just sit here and just look at the flow of comments. I'm answering a question. I'm paying attention to the sound and all this and that. So this gives me a chance to check out the things that you guys are saying here. So welcome, everyone. I've been working on the final stages of my next book, which is a jump off from the OCD healing journey. And it's going to be on relationship OCD. It's going to be a resource that's going to come out, followed by, hopefully not too long after that, sometime in 2025, maybe summer or maybe later in the year. I want to release a book on Christian perfectionism. That is going to be really good. But as I was writing this book in fact, I got it right up here on my screen and going through editing phases now and kind of getting a sense of formatting of it. There's many people who come to my channel that ask a lot of questions about specifically relationship OCD. That's a big area that I addressed in my life and journey. So I have one chapter in the OCD healing journey on that. But I felt when I wrote that, I said, I need to flesh this out some more in another piece of material. Also, when I wrote the chapter on the distortion of perfectionism, I knew clearly I had so much I had to move out of that chapter, move out. Those of you that have ever written a book, you have to do a lot of cutting the fat. You have to like get the fat out of there and get rid of it and chisel and chisel and chisel. And I was chiseling so much. I was like, this is a book in itself. So that gave birth to that whole project. So been doing a lot of sitting down, writing, staring right here at this screen for hours and hours. So pray that you all are doing well. And want to say hello to Luke, is it Braganza? Luke Braganza Jones. Thank you, my dear brother in Christ, for all you do. You've really helped me on this journey since I surrendered to Jesus. I want to send you email soon thanking you. Love from Spain. And I love it that me going live at this time allows you in Spain to tune in. It's a decent hour. You don't have to be way late at night. Pearl, happy Thanksgiving. Same to you. Armenian with Lisa. Hello. Hello to you. Let me bring this. I'm going to bring this over here to the front so I'm not just turning to the side the whole time. I'll move my OBS over here, and I will trust that your audio will work in Jesus' name. Let me put this over here. Lori, Mark, love your podcast and stories of Max. The story of him driving the golf cart was so touching, especially when he said, I feel free. Oh, that's so great, Lori. Love that you enjoyed that. Random Sonic, the master, welcome. You got a membership. That's great. Sharon Blessy, hello. Good to see you here. Rachel Grace, Meg VC, and Logan McAllister. Marty, always good to see you here, Marty. Thank you so much. We don't have Thanksgiving in India. Want to experience it once. It's quite an experience. And in America, there's a lot of gluttony involved, unfortunately. But Sherilyn, and hopefully I'm saying your name correctly, tell me what traditions you have in your culture. King Bimba, what's going on? Thank you for all you do. I appreciate that. I am Kaya. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Nice latte. Mark Williams. Yes, Pearl, the audio it did cut out, but it came back on. I do I let the system, when I do that kind of picture of me with the music playing, that is, and nothing's happening. There's no countdown or anything. That's actually what I utilize as a test. And if there's a problem in the system, in my mixer, it usually cuts out right in the beginning. I never fully solved it, but I have a workaround now. And so in that time, if you hear the sound cut out, not to worry. I'll reboot my mixer, bring it back up, and then it's usually gone. It's a weird phenomenon that goes on. So let me get my place here. June, GDP, what's going on? Meech, I really enjoy your videos, and I just received your book. Sorry, my nose is a little runny. Your brother from another mother gets allergies, as you guys know, and sometimes it gets a little annoying. I really enjoy your videos. Just received your book, The Healing Journey. Excited to start reading it. That's great. Sylvian Everts, audio's working. Audio back. Yes. Coffee. Just got up. Need hello from Bismarck, North Dakota. It's cold up there. It's cold. I bet you got snow. Yes, this is my coffee mug that I like. And those of you that are into like certain brands, you might know this brand. It's got mushrooms on it. It doesn't mean anything. I'm not drinking mushrooms. It just has a weird shape to it. I kind of just like the feel. It's giant. It's very, very sturdy. And so it helps the experience there. I'll do my best not to make any slurping sounds in the microphone. Those of you that obsess about certain sounds, you have... yeah, coffee sounds good right now. Olas Arnold, good to see you. Jessica Ann, welcome. Disa J, happy thanks God for giving. I like that. Hitsuji, hello. Mrs. Davis, welcome. A Grata, I was diagnosed autistic L1 at age 43, ADD at 30, neglected, raised from birth by babysitters to the age of 5, and a mom that was only physical present, a guardian who tried to remove my dad's family. I don't see a question there, but Agrada, hopefully what I teach and talk about can be a help for your journey. Who's going to watch Charlie Brown Thanksgiving? Hitsuji, I'm going to be on it. My son Max there's in the old school Peanuts, there's a couple Thanksgiving episodes, and one of them's a long form one. And it's actually very moving. It gets into some of the details of the settlers and what was happening and the deaths and all that stuff, the hardship. I don't think I could have made it during that time. But anyways, there's a speech that one of them gives. Is it Linus at the meal? We thank God for a new home. We thank God. So my son Max memorized the whole thing, and he would state it. And I just loved it. So I just kept feeding that in him. I love that, Max. So I would make a request every Thanksgiving. Max, I want you to do the speech. But then Max has gone through this phase in his development, as all teenagers do, where he's like, Dad, that's not cool. I don't want to do it anymore. And I'm like, oh, son, you're breaking my heart. Because I loved it. I just loved it. It was just this nice little, I could cue it up, but they would copyright strike me here on YouTube. But he would say that whole speech through, and it just gave me this nostalgic grounding into just being grateful. I have so many wonderful things in my life. Just breathing oxygen, being able to walk, being able to talk, being able to have meals. I don't have to wonder where's the next meal gonna come from. The fact that I have shoes on my feet, it's chilly here in the Charlotte area, and I can wear shoes to keep my feet warm. It's amazing. So I like to revisit history a lot because it helps me to put the journey in perspective, because most of the planet has been suffering a lot over the centuries. And so it just helps put things into perspective of the many things that we get to experience in gratitude. Jaden, it's good to see you here, Mr. Hanover. You see, I'm a cream and sugar kind of guy. Cream, yes. Sugar, no. Although in the past, I call this my fallen days, it was Dunkin' Donuts, cream shug all the time, multiple times a day. But I have removed sugar from my life. Me and Shug broke up. So no more Shug for me. I don't miss it, though. So don't cry for me, Argentina, because it's not something I miss. I don't miss those sugar insulin dips. So I will do like a stevia or something like that. But I try to do a variety with my coffee because it's something I do at lunchtime. And it's like a moment. So I'm actually sharing this moment with y'all. Normally I would do it before a live. I said, I'll just have it here. So you're liking the music. That's great, Meg. Appreciate that. Yeah, I have more in that track too. I can pull up. There may be times too where, I don't know, maybe I'll just do a live where I'm just working and you guys can hang out with me while I'm working. How would you like that? Would that be fun? You can put me a little screen. I'll just have a playlist going on here, and you can just hang out with me and listen to the music I listen to. I've developed a discipline that when I sit down to write, I have a playlist of just a bunch of background music. Unfortunately, the music I like to listen to, I can't play for you guys. They're very, very, very restrictive on that, and honoring people's copyright. I've even heard that people sitting down with a guitar or piano, I know people who've done that, they'll sing live someone else's song, and they'll get hit with by YouTube with that. So there are times I've tried to do it, and they hit me with all these notices. I got to either remove it or blah, blah, blah. So anyways, but yeah, Jaden, Charlie Brown Christmas. It's the best. You got to watch it at least once a year. And I do have my list of Christmas movies and things like that I watched through in, let's see, in the year, what year was it? 2006. I left the church I was working at and started a whole new journey. And I'd had it on my heart to go in a whole different direction in ministry. My wife and I got married, and I left the staff position I worked on and took a journey that has led me to where I am today. Anyway, 2006, Christmas. Every year at Christmas, those of you that work at a church, you're on staff at a church, holidays are not exactly, just being honest, are not that awesome because you're doing a lot of work. You don't get any time to pause. And so Christmas was preparing multiple services, candlelight services, preparing New Year's services, they had a kids production, a youth production. They had this thing and that thing and this presentation. And so when I got out of doing that all the time, my first year in 2006, I said to my wife, we were newly married. I said, I just want to sit. And I had a list of Christmas movies, and the whole month from I think from November into all the way December into Christmas, every single night I had a list. And I'm going to watch this Christmas movie and this Christmas movie and this Christmas movie. I want to feel like a normal person again. That was a great experience. So I kept that as a tradition for a bit, where I'd have a checklist of all that I wanted to go through. So glad it's relaxing, Jaden. Jaden Hanover says, "What are you thankful for this year?" And I listed some of it. I'm very grateful that I have I have an amazing wife who she may be here in the chat. I know she had to take our daughter Abby. We've been doing all this driving. Our daughter has a theater production she's a part of. It's about 45 minutes away, and Charlotte is getting so jam-packed with traffic. It takes like an hour each way. So there's some days we're back and forth multiple times. And so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and today, we've been doing a lot of driving. So especially my wife. So she dropped her off, and it ends today. So hopefully we can land a little bit. But I'm so grateful for my wife. I'm grateful for what we have valued in our journey. We both value mental, emotional, relationship health. We value certain things that we've just grown in together. I'm really grateful that I have an involved relationship with my kids. And I did set in the journey that no matter what I do, I want to be home. I want to be available. And then it moved into me actually working out of home, where this studio's on our property. So I am grateful that I get to be in their lives. It's not like I have a job that makes me away all the time. Although there is plenty of times I go, I need some space. I need a break. So hopefully that answers that question a little bit. Thank God for the De Jesus family, this community. Marina Pierre, thank you very much. Karina Diaz, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Any tips for finding a church when you struggle with scrupulosity? There isn't a church that's going to cater to scrupulosity. And I don't recommend that be the basis, because when you're walking through OCD, you do need to get triggered, so to speak. You need to be able to face triggers and learn how to work through them. So for a lot of religious OCDers, church is exposure therapy for you. You know, certain things are said, and you have to learn how to ride through that. Some people need to take a break. Some people unplug from the matrix of institutional church, like I shared about in my story in Journey. And maybe at some point we can share updates on where our journey's taken us now. But there's maybe many of you that you take a break to go, okay, I got to recalibrate. I got to learn an organic relationship with God based on his love and his grace, where I'm not so easily pulled into those spirals. So hopefully that helps. Marty, you're eating dinner. It's just after 6 p.m. in the UK. Fantastic. What's everyone's favorite Thanksgiving food, or just food in general? I'm big on the turkey with the skin, good spice on it. Yes, that is fantastic. Grata was okay. You're asking, you're sharing some things that you're going through. Gotcha. Jessica Ann, my first time in the chat. I'm not really sure about the format or topic. There is none. And you like the forest scape? Yeah, I thought I'd make it a little bit fall, not too much movement, but if you look at it just carefully, you see the videos moving ever so slightly. Leaves falling. DJ Mark, what's cooking with the jams today? Got all kinds of jams. Yes, speaking of jam, I love jam. That would be something in the cheat category, is anything to do with like a raspberry jam, that kind of dessert. I did pass in the store yesterday a strawberry rhubarb pie. I took a picture of it, sent it to my wife, and said, the devil's talking to me right now. It was very intrusive, very loud and clear call. Flamingo Bear, what's going on? Bat 166, always good to see you. And Jaden, it's beautiful afternoon here in sunny North Carolina. How's a healing and freedom journey? Is your host DJ Mark. Now sit back and listen to some tunes. Miguel, happy Thanksgiving, my West Coast brother. Good to see you here. The backdrop looks like where I lived in West Virginia mountains. Maybe it is. Could be. I like your signature intro song. Awesome. Thank you, Rachel. DJ Mark in the house, go with the flow. Let me get caught up here because I know this was here earlier. Kevin and Diana Holland, I've been searching for this information for 50 plus years. You're able to put my feelings into words. That's awesome. If I can be that, that's part of being a brother from another mother. That as I share, if I can put language and words into things you're feeling, because how many of you struggle with sharing what you're feeling, expressing what you're feeling, or even knowing what you're feeling, what you're going through? So if I can be a blessing in that way, it's an honor. Jay Bird, happy Thanksgiving. Oh, yeah. I saw that from North Dakota. Ooh, just thinking about North Dakota makes me feel chilly. Who cooks for the Thanksgiving in the DeJesus household? It all depends, Karina, because there's a lot of times where we'll shake things up and go away and do something different around the holidays, not necessarily the gathering with family kind of thing. So we shake things up. This year, we're actually going to a restaurant. We got agreed to family members say, hey, this is what we're going to do. What do y'all think? So we're going to let the restaurant do it. And that's a first for all of. So I like changing up things. I do appreciate some tradition, but I also like changing things up. So, Marty, you need some light relief after being filled with guilt after a church service yesterday?
Well, let me ask you, what was the topic about? Because, maybe you needed some good condemnation up in your life.
By the way, I was working on the other day. So
this is the church lady voice, right?
But then I was also working on, and I don't know that it's tuned just yet, but an OCD voice. When an
OCDer asks questions, it's like a little bit like
this is much in a higher registry. You know what I'm saying? Much higher registry.
But this one is a little more OCD, like serious. Like Mark, I have a question for you. No, none of these dance breaks, none of these, hooping and hollering and funny business. I have a question that needs to be answered. Can you please answer my question? I've submitted it so many times. Can you acknowledge my chat? I have a thing that I need to get. Can you please help? Can you please? Can you please help me? I need some help.
That's so far as the OCD voice. Then, of course, there's the Kmart shopper voice, which is always available. You Gen Xers, you grew up with Kmart. And you grew up with the Blue Light Special. If you don't know what it is, you probably, A, are not a Gen Xer or a baby boomer, and B, you don't live in the United States. But that was, thank you for shopping. Thank you. And, of course, the voice of God. And the most popular favorite as of late
is the AI voice. And when you ask me a question, I give you what AI is saying and the information from the algorithm that I obtain from trillions of articles all across the world. I'm able to give you the data, but I don't have emotions, but I can tell you about emotions. I have no emotional intelligence, though, because I am not real. I am a fabricated machine made out of computer parts.
And then, are there any others there? What's the other? No, I think that's. Oh, there was this kind of. This one's more the God voice. I am the Lord God. That like you one that everyone's scared of. That brings terror into everyone's emotions. So where was I in the chat here? My screen froze and I had to refresh here. So happy Thanksgiving. If I missed you, I'm sorry. I'm doing my best to just check out misophonia. Misophonia, yeah, it goes on. We have some of that going on around Thanksgiving, especially in March chewing. I have a weird jaw. Everything is just strange in the Mark DeJesus jaw. I got an underbite, and my chewing sometimes just makes noises and aggravates other certain family members. So yes, Disa J, Jessica Ann. I keep seeing 111 and 1111 so much. Does that mean anything biblically? I don't know. I see the same thing. I got to be honest. Yeah, Jessica, I see 9/11, 11/11, and 11/12 and 12/12 constantly. I don't read into it, though. I let it float on by. God, if there's something I need to see, I'll see it when I see it. And then all the prophetic people come over.
Oh, what that means, I got a word for you. Oh, the 11:11 means you're in a season where the Lord is doing a new thing. It's a new season of change and transition. There's transitions going on. I hear the Lord saying, and you need to write this down. Write down what I'm saying.
And sometimes that's helpful. Sometimes it's exhausting too. It can make us spin too much. Loriana, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Loriana. Hey, Grata, you said your question is broken up into parts. Vladimir Pendovsky, welcome. I'm 100% Linus stimming with the blanket. Yes, me too, Vladimir. I did. I was with me as my pillow, and I used to suck my finger. Very strange habit. Most people, if they suck their fingers, their thumb. With me, it was this finger. And I didn't break the habit all the way through elementary school. You could read a lot psychologically into this habit, into the need for nurture. But I remember going into 7th grade, my parents were trying to find a school to send me into. The middle schools in Hartford were not safe places, not even really great schooling. So I'd gone to public school all the way up to 6th grade, Parkville Community School in Hartford, Connecticut. If you look it up, you'll see a bunch of flags all the way around the building. I used to walk to school there, all down through the streets of Park Street and Sisson Avenue, and times have changed a lot. You know, I was just fending for myself. Anyway, my parents sent me to a Christian school that we found, one that was in the next town over. I applied for some other schools. They were too expensive. I got approved. They didn't have money for scholarships, blah, 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 all that. And maybe one of these days I'll share with you what they said about me, if you're interested in what they said about me and why the fancy schools would not accept me. It's kind of an interesting dilemma. Nonetheless, my parents kept looking and found a Christian school. It happened to be a fundamental Baptist, my brother from another mother in the comment section, you know what I'm talking about, Christian school. And one of the first things they did was they had an orientation camp. I didn't know anybody in the school at all, not one person. And so they accepted me, and I was in Assemblies of God Pentecostal Church, and they sat my parents down and lectured them and like, listen, we're going to give your kid a try, but he cannot raise his hands. He cannot speak in tongues. He cannot do any of the things you Pentecostals do. Do you understand? And my parents were like, fine. We just want him to have good teaching and discipline, stuff like that. Anyways, we go to the orientation camp. This is a baptism. Speaking of being with the Baptists, this is a baptism immersion. And I'm there, 12 years old. I'm going into 7th grade, chubby little 7th grader, super insecure. And I'm at this orientation camp, sitting there in my bunk, like I don't know anybody. And I remember sitting there, and I was by myself, and my finger came out, and I was like, I had a conversation with myself. I said, bro, these are all new people. This is right. Because the school was divided in elementary and then junior high and high school. So we were with all the high schoolers too. I'm seeing, seniors and, guys that are, 6 years older than me. It's frightening. I'm like, Mark, you can't do this. So I remember at night just shoving my hand down when I was going to sleep, like, you cannot suck your finger. And that's how I stopped, not necessarily the most healing and freedom kind of pathway. Where did I go? Oh. Misophonia. Okay, that's where I was. 11:11. Banron S. I recommend you check out the song Good Enough for God by Citizen Soldier, Mark. In fact, I think quite a few of them are quite profound. They could be a starting point for many in their journey. Sure. I'll look that up. I would play it right now, but again, I'll get a demerit. But send me a link to it if you want to. Mark@markdejesus.com. You can just email it to me. Are you into hunting at all, Mark? You know, Bat One, I would love to be. She is more involved in shooting, target practice, stuff like that. I've gotten into it back in Connecticut. I did do some of the classes. I'd have to do that here. I never got going with it here. I may at some point, but I would love the idea of going with somebody hunting. Yeah. I think it's always good to try new things, to stretch, always be stretching yourself to, open your discovery to new habits or new experiences, new opportunities. Great to have you here, Munya Changa, Pat DeRosa. I like your realness. Thank you very much, Pat. SUG is not that great. I don't know what that means, but that's all right. I'm addicted to soda. It's all I ever drink. Do you like the Christian band Rivers and Robots? I don't know. Chillin', but send it to me. Oh, Shug. Sorry. Yes, Shug is not that great. I got it. Little slow. I'm with it. Black Coffee's the best. What's my favorite Christmas movie? That is a good question, but I think it's still Fred Claus. I love the premise of Santa Claus has a brother and they had a sibling rivalry. And I think Vince Vaughn is very funny when he's in that. I think sarcasm, when it's done well, is very funny. And so my favorite scene is when Vince Vaughn is in a recovery group. And in the recovery group is all people whose sibling is famous. So it has like Alec Baldwin's brother, Stephen Baldwin. It has President Bill Clinton's brother, who's there, and he gives a talk about the struggle that he has in being his brother. So I think that plot is just hysterical to me. And the guy who plays Santa Claus is just a fantastic actor. He can do anything and do it really well. So that would be number one. Monk fruit sweetener is good too. Yeah, Tiffany, it is very, very good. I do bulletproof coffee, grass-fed butter, and MCT oil. Yes, it's good. It's delicious. Mark, you need to give us a list of your favorite Christmas movies. That started with number one. And I'm trying to think from there. What would be next? I know Max likes A Christmas Story. He'll bring that up. Probably we're going to do a live with the family on December 15th. Believe it or not, we only have a couple Sunday lives left. We have one on the 1st. I'm going to be away visiting family on the 8th, so we won't have one then. And the 15th. That's it. It's two left. So on the 15th, I'll get the kids in here. We're gonna do a bunch of sharing, and you never know what's gonna happen. But I do like I watch A Christmas Story with him. I do want to get back to watching some of the older ones, like It's a Wonderful Life. I haven't seen that in a long time. I did like Elf. I'll be very honest about the movie Elf. I used to watch it religiously and loved it. But as the years have progressed, there's a lot of things that the character does, Will Ferrell does, and he's brilliant. The whole story is brilliant. But there's a lot of things he do that comes across like more autistic. So it's kind of, with what we've experienced with our son, it's just like a mixture, a mixture of laughter. And we do our best to laugh through the journey, but there's parts of it that's like, oh, yeah, I've seen that kind of talk and that kind of action. Just being honest. The new Christmas movies are so bad, especially on Netflix. Pearl, I get you. Well, who's favorite? Oh, Home Alone. Yes, Home Alone's great, and that's Max's. It's at the top of his list too, and I do enjoy that. That whole premise is awesome. Call me Glitter. Mark, thank you for what you do in helping me. It's great. The weather this time is amazing. I live in the desert. Infinitely 7 Gaming. That's awesome. Maybe I'll move into the desert at some point. I do like warm. We love warm weather. Warm weather all the time. If I never saw snow ever again, I'd be fine. What is scrupulosity? It's a form of OCD that involves how you process your faith, Bible reading. It's so cool your work keeps you at home. Yes, it is cool, although I got to get out of the house a lot. I do get stir crazy, especially because the studio here, it's all blacked out so that I don't have to fuss with lighting if the sun's shining and stuff like that. So after I get done, I'm like, I got to go outside. Turkey, 3 fiddlers, chilling. The church I attend now has a pastor that is openly gay. Been in a gay marriage for quite a while, and sometimes tries to explain how he might not be sinning. Yeah, that's rough. You find yourself a new fellowship, for sure. Pray that for Rachel. Okay, I see you talking. Smoked turkey, yes. Any pie is good pie, yes. Cleveland, sunny and cold. Pig and stuffing. Oh, now YouTube does this thing where it shut all the comments down. My goodness. Super chat from Bat1. Happy Thanksgiving from North Idaho. I need to go there someday. Snow in the mountains, 34 degrees here. Been watching you since I was 16, and I'm 22 now. That is awesome. Come a long way in the journey. Thank you for being a huge help. That is awesome. 6 years. There's a lot of content over those 6 years for sure. All right, I'm going to skip down here so I can get caught up a little bit more. Luke, you said you helped me understand I have OCD, but you helped know how to understand it better and not freak out like before. I talk about you to everyone that needs good advice. Come on, Mark, please do a Christopher Walken voice. I don't know that I do that. I don't know that I do that one very good. I can get the rhythm. I can't get the tone. You know, that Spirit in the Sky, Blue. Hello. That's a song, isn't it? Yeah. I'm trying to remember. Somebody talking about praying in tongues. Oh, you from Connecticut, Jessica? Jessica Ann, what city are you from? I was born and raised in Hartford, and then I lived in East Hartford, and then lived in Manchester. That was about it. And all that is just within miles of each other. So very much a lot of Connecticut history. Yeah, Jaden, all too well. All too well. I didn't give him any trouble in the Baptist school, though. I didn't give him any trouble. It's like, y'all want to fuss about those things? Go ahead. But they helped me to get disciplined in my life because I wasn't very disciplined, and I will give them a lot of credit. It helped me to become more disciplined in Bible reading, in studying, and there were a lot of routines that helped me to develop that, which I need. Boy, do I need that to this day, because most of my ministry life, even all the way back to the 90s, I've needed self-discipline. There's no one hovering over, my work, or I have to be self-motivated. So I am grateful for that. However, boy, they got really, really, really intense about their standards of dress and standards of activity. They attributed like this is God, and many of you've been in that kind of community where, it's just like I saw a clip yesterday of a preacher, and I'm like, is this for real? Is he serious? The preacher was talking about the sin of a man having facial hair, and he was like preaching on it. Now, in the Baptist school I went to, they didn't really believe in beards or facial hair for the men. And some of you say, what about the women? they didn't believe in facial hair, but they didn't preach it. It was just kind of this hidden, sometimes not hidden. Jaden, did they do the no facial hair in your church, or the one you came out of, or the one you're going to? No facial hair. But the dude was preaching adamantly like it was adultery, like with that kind of passion. And I'm like, wow, we fight about a lot of we fight about certain things we don't need to fight about, and then we don't stand on the things we need to stand on. No demerits. Receive the baptism of the Holy Spirit. I think I found Mark's videos a week or two ago. Yeah, there's a wave of a bunch of people that have come in. So many of you are new here. So welcome to you in that. Hey, Janet Rousey, just recently found the site, like the teaching. Well, welcome. And what do you think of Dan McClellan? You asking me? I can't say I've heard the name. But sometimes if I type it in, I'll go, oh, I know who that is. Yeah, I don't know much about him. His picture without the facial hair, I feel like I've seen that at some point. But I don't know anything about him. My abuelito was an outdoorsman and hunter too, and probably the one who thinks hunting might be interesting. Family Man with Nicolas Cage. That's an interesting movie. A great song for autumn is A Change in the Air by Clint Black. Never heard it, but I bet it's good. How do you deal with your kids and Santa? It's an interesting story. When we first had children, I was like, we're not doing the Santa thing. It's blocking people from Jesus. I was, intense, kind of had that intensity, like I can have for Halloween too, just like, and as the years went along and my kids were just expressing excitement, and I remember talking to Max one day, and he was like, hey, Dad, where does Santa live? And I was like, Max, he lives in the North Pole. and I went with it, and I loosened up, and then it faded where they're like, they both picked up on it. He ain't real. And so I haven't seen that be a detriment, because we were always sharing what Christmas represents. And so I realized that I had a lot of uptightness in my journey. You have to realize I'm good at teaching on perfectionism, religiosity, legalism, because I had so much of it in me, but it was like socially acceptable legalism. You couldn't necessarily identify it unless you spend some time around me. So anyways, Rebecca Carey, hello. First time on live, but don't feel like the first time. Hello, because I've watched so many of your videos, read your books. God bless you. Happy Thanksgiving. Same to you. Same to you. Let's see. Oh, Dralix 911. Just want to say I got married on September 21st after a strong battle and Christ's victory over relationship OCD. That's awesome. Just want to thank you for your insight and Holy Spirit guidance. That's awesome. Do me a favor, send me a wedding photo. I have a collection of them. Those are trophies for me of people who've been, they felt helped and encouraged by my resources or married. I'm even now getting a birth announcement of babies. So it's like next level. No, it's great. Great. I love marriage, love to encourage growing families. Okay, the comment is playing tricks on me here. Tyrus, great movie, Tyrus. What did Tyrus say? I don't know. The Polar Express. I don't know that I've seen the Polar Express. White Christmas. Elf is so cute. Yeah, Buddy's behavior is endearing to you. Yep. Trapped in Paradise. Never heard of that. Okay, now I found my place back. Bat One, it's beautiful up here any time of year, but you want to avoid the cold, not be in blistering hot weather. Mid-May to mid-June is lovely weather. A Grata, I made sure my son knew that Santa is a lie and Christmas is only about Jesus Christ. Yeah, I get you. I get you. God bless y'all. You lived to tell the tale, so yes, it seemed you complied. Yes. Yes, Jaden. One of these days, you and I need to have a sit down and just tell stories. Discipline rocks. We try to keep the language clean here if you could. Is anyone? Yes, Connecticut, a little town with one traffic light, 2 cows, and me. I could guess where you live. I could guess the towns. Because there's some within like 45 minutes of Hartford. Hartford's right in the middle. You start to get out like in the western portions. You can get up like in the northwest or in some, but you can get in the middle. You can feel like you're in the middle of nowhere, and it's not that far. Okay, Jaden, in Bible college, they taught no facial hair, hair off the ears, only white shirts on the platform. Yeah, only white. Yeah. Why only white shirts? What? Sometimes I would be like, wait, why is this? Yeah, hair off the ears. So Jaden, when I first day of school, when I show up, they're like, Mark, we gotta have a talk. And then they pulled my mom aside too, because I thought I cut my hair. I had kind of a little bit of a shaggy, like over the ears, and they're like, no, you gotta do like I'd call it a fade. But they're like, you have to have it cut where it's like clean off the ears. Apparently, Jesus doesn't listen to you when it's touching the ears. People with beards at your church now. All right. Hi, everyone. Didn't know there was a live today. I've been trying until I break at the end of December. I'm going to try to do Wednesday lives to do some Q&As. Yes, just Jaybird, facial hair preaching. Difference between ROCD and just incompatibility and apprehensive about moving forward in a relationship. Is that a question, Jaden? Let me find my place here. Mark, how do you find a trustworthy Christian community and build long-lasting relationships? Well, I don't make the goal building long-lasting relationship. That's too much pressure. I find ways to get to know people. Find ways to connect. And if you have to start online, that can be a start to just kind of connect with people. And then out of that, be open to activities. Find out what things are going on, especially if you're single. Take advantage of opportunities to connect. Kaylee Baca, hey, welcome. James Cure, Major Cajun, Emma P., A. Ramos, greetings from Puerto Rico. Recently discovered your content, been binging on it while at work. Cleaning lady here. It's great. Yes, podcast listening while you're cleaning. That is very, very doable. Relationship is not religion. Yeah, I see you there. Luigi 0728 finally caught alive. Ghost. Oh, Ellington, Connecticut. Yeah, Ellington is like near Windsor, right? Near South Windsor. If I'm, yeah, out East Windsor, yeah, not South Windsor, East Windsor. Oh, last Arnold, this year was challenging to me. I lost my dog of 12 years. Oh, that's sad. It was painful seeing him in pain. It was hard to deal with. One thing that made it harder was that people say animals won't be in heaven. That's all right. You got an intense pastor. You won't feel happy with your dog in heaven, then you're not ready for heaven. Some of those like heaven comments crack me up. Rachel, I recently listened to your broadcast about grace and marriage. I've never heard a Christian portray marriage so beautifully. That means so much to me, Rachel. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That's meaningful because I love marriage, and especially a guy who struggled so much with obsessiveness and a lot of distortions regarding dating and romance and marriage. Which, by the way, somebody was just writing to me about. They come from a culture of arranged marriages, and then some of the church like teaching didn't believe in dating or courting at all. It's very interesting. Like if you're a true believer, you're gonna just find someone and marry them, like in the Old Testament with like Jacob and all that. It's like, wow, that would add a lot of pressure. Oh, you're up in Maine. Whew, Maine. Oh, okay. Luigi 0728 Cameron. Gotcha. I would have never known that that's you. Good to see you here, brother. Kankakee, Illinois, Chicago, Illinois. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, they pulled my mom aside too. Yes. Yeah, with my haircut. Like, we got to straighten this out. Because it was just touching my ears and my collar. The hair right here was just touching my collar. And they're like, no. So, a little bit of Bible, a little bit of military, a little bit of legalism, it all mixed in. But this is how I'm wired. I can find in my journey the good out of those things. In that I appreciate in the church I went to, there wasn't Assembly of God Church, there wasn't that sense of discipline. So in the name of like grace and freedom in Christ, that kind of, but there wasn't the level of family discipline that I do appreciate in many Baptist circles, and the order and structure. And I needed that. And my parents said that too. They said, we see a noticeable difference in the structure and what it did for you. And it caused me to step up. I had a very intense English teacher, speech teacher. She was intense when I give speeches. And I had to do a very long memorized content. And out of that birthed I liked acting. I did acting at the school. We did productions and stuff like that. I did speeches. Then I did creative stuff that we would do in school presentations and stuff like that. So that it brought out a lot of good things. And they did have a strong sense of community, but there was damage done. I saw a lot of damage that firsthand that legalism does. And people either graduated from the school and repeated the legalism, like they carried it on in their life to the next level, or like rebelled in not good ways, like just threw the whole thing away. That both were sad to watch. Let me scoot down. Joel Bello, thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate that. Mark, what'd you do for Christmas as a kid? The traditions were pretty much like a lot of families. We did do on Christmas Eve, we'd go to the church candlelight service, and then we would come home and open one gift. That was something that we did. That was pretty neat. And but as soon as I graduated high school, I was working at the church. At first, I was also going to college at the time. There was a lot going on, but so very quickly, my tradition became work, Christmas service, candlelight service. So New Year's Eve was me crash landing. Then there'd be Christmas Day, and usually December 26th, I was right back at the church cleaning up and, taking care of stuff. that wasn't fun. It was. So I miss during those, especially my college years. I didn't really have college years. I do miss at the 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 that I wanted to be able to have some of the socializing that a lot of people would do. And I was putting productions together, putting services together, making sure the sound system was working, making sure the music order, my musicians, and getting all that. So, but those the great things I was able to do. And so holidays for me took time to renew, especially Easter, because Easter was the most exhausting day of the year. Christmas was number 2, but Easter was number 1, where we did large scale passion play productions, like a week long, full makeup, props, effects, everything like that. And when it was all over, it's just like you were a zombie for like a week, but then you just keep going because still services, more stuff. It's a burnout lifestyle for me. Yeah, geriosity, a dress code can be a good discipline for training. Yeah, but in general, it's a bit too control-y. I'm with you on that. Okay, Jaden, how do you know if what you experience is ROCD or just incompatibility or just apprehension about moving forward in the relationship? Well, one, that is typically what relationship OCDers ask. 2 is that you become fixated on certain disturbances out of proportion. You fixate on certain things about attraction or compatibility in a way that's distorted, but you don't think it's distorted, right? So in a healthier kind of way, you're interested in a girl, right? And you go out and you realize she's not a Christian. So you go, oh, this isn't a good relationship to go through, right? You just kind of move on. With an OCDer, there's great things in the relationship and they get great feedback from people, but they're spinning. And for me, I would go into this, as soon as the relationship got committed, I would go into this zone of anxiety. And it was so intense, I just thought, oh, this is God. I attributed that as God warning me. And took a while for me to relearn that. But you see things you see things magnified in a sense of like nitpicking the relationship and feeling anxious, but there's not like solid perspectives about it. It's not like, I'm dating this person. I have some concerns, she's divorced and has kids. It's like, okay, that's something that you would need some real sober looking at. Right. And, but it's not like that. It's nitpicking at things that don't need to be nitpicked but it's heavily magnified. If there's anybody in the Netherlands looking here for community, I pray that opens up for you, Sylvian. What's the temperature in the Netherlands? 46 Fahrenheit, 8 degrees Celsius. There we go. Because I have my computer, I can see the difference, because we're in the low 60s right now, but it was in the 30s and 40s this morning. It looks like it's cold there. Some people are really disrespectful with this topic. Is this about the dog in heaven one? Okay, yeah. Sometimes I feel sleepy as soon as I begin to read the Bible. I hear you, Shada. Sometimes that could be in general too, sitting down and reading. Many times you can be kind of in a go mode, and then you actually sit. So it could be the Bible, could be a movie, could be a lot of things. Just sitting could just bring out, like, you need some rest. Call me glitter. My chat keeps freezing up. Yeah, mine has too a couple times. Messes with me as I'm gently scrolling through, and then all of a sudden. Space Boys, you help me to remember to keep pursuing my wife. That's awesome. Rachel, you're so welcome. Thank you so much for doing that broadcast. The way you describe marriage would be a dream come true for me. Well, keep me posted. Hey, Mark, any tips on getting over an ex and dealing with that rejection? Just slowly, one step at a time. Keep moving forward. Don't put pressure. I got to get over my ex. That just makes it harder. Just keep redirecting yourself to taking steps forward. I'm thankful for everything I've been through and the dynamics of my family life. Chilling, that's great. Susan, Dominic, good to see you here. Hi, Mark. So thankful for all the resources you provided us. I hope you and your family have a great Thanksgiving. I want to ask a question regarding how to be a good friend to those OCD. Well, I'll keep an eye if I can. I'll try to scroll down a little bit more. The album Nurture by Porter Robinson. Hi, Pink Wolf, Owl City. I think I got that name right. Literally has some of the same themes you teach and you should listen. That's great. I've never heard of Porter Robinson, but yes. Yes, Luigi. I'm Luigi0728. I don't know if dogs go to heaven or not. What comforts me is knowing that God cares about the animals, will do good to them as well. Thankful to have James, thankful to have an amazing God. Thank you, Lord, for this beautiful life. Okay, now I think. Mark, do you know anything about sleep paralysis? Call me Glitter. Okay, Glitter. I'll call you Glitter. I've had it 4 times in nightmares. People say sleep issues and send me to doctors. Others say demonic. I heard mom and sister's voice, but they live out of town. There is the body goes into a form of paralysis when it goes to sleep. So it's a normal thing that happens to enter into the deep, deep zones of sleep. That's why sometimes in a dream, you ever feel like in a dream you can't run, like your feet are in cement? Because sometimes in the dream, your physical body's interacting with the dream, and it's like that's a preventative thing so that you don't fully engage it. Although I had a bunch of sleepwalking kind of things that I did when I was, I don't remember how old I was. I was definitely under the age of like 9 or 8. We lived in a 2-family house in Hartford. We lived on the first floor. There was a family that rented out the second floor. And in the middle of the night, I got up out of my bed, out of my bedroom, left the first floor, went up the stairs and knocked on the door on the second floor. And they did what I guess you're supposed to do when somebody's sleepwalking. You don't like jolt them out of it. She just kindly told me the lady upstairs, she kindly told me to just go back to bed. And I heard about that. I'm like, that's strange. When I hear people having sleep issues and when I work with people having sleep issues, a lot of it goes back to nurture. That's one of the core issues. And we could speculate about demons. We could speculate about nutrients. We could speculate about biology. We can go into a lot of things. But sleep is one of the greatest acts of nurture that God gave us. It's a very vulnerable thing, right? You let yourself fall asleep. You don't go to sleep. You fall asleep, right? You don't just go, okay, sleep. You let yourself enter into it. So it's a vulnerable place. It's also a place of releasing our cares to God. It's also a time where a lot of our fears can come to the surface. They can come while we're trying to fall asleep. They can come up in the middle of the night. How many of you wake up 3 a.m., 4 a.m., you have a cortisol spike, right? And you're just bombarded with all kinds of, fearful or dark thoughts or things like that. And so there's like a fight or flight state that comes in. And I've been on quite a long journey of God healing my sleep at different levels in different ways. And there's been a variety of things that have affected it. But nurture is a big one, because when we go to sleep, it's an extended experience of nurture, of God bringing restoration to our muscles, our nervous system. There's things your body does to clean out at night. You're not eating, so there's some clean out your body does digestively. There's clean out your body does neurologically. What is it? Those glial cells that go through, neurological connections kind of do some cleanup. So that's why people say, I'm going to sleep on it. You wake up the next morning with a different perspective. So I think that it's multifaceted. So if anyone gives you like this silver bullet answer, I'm a little skeptical on that. It's multifaceted. Sleep is a multifaceted learning thing. It's learning how to wind down, how to have peace, how to care for yourself, have healthy routines. I'll talk about sleep some more at some point. But Mark, I was curious, is it toxic guilt that we shame ourselves for the past if we are changing? It's guilt and shame, toxic guilt and shame if we're looking at the past in a non-sober lens. We want to see our past, present, and future through sobriety. Warren Hardstein! Good to see you. See, I always get scary thoughts at night. Daytime is fine. Always bedtime when it's dark. Yeah, that's when certain levels of fear come up, and that takes understanding. I had to learn how to cultivate my night season because I would have those nightmarish kind of experiences too. Where Space Boy says, the exhortation, meditate on God's word in your bed. In the Psalm, it says that's where the verse "be angry and don't sin" originates. It's not just Ephesians; it's in the Psalms. Be angry and do not sin. Let your heart meditate, I think is what it is, on your bed. Psalm 4:4. Be angry and do not sin when you are on your beds. I need a translation I'm familiar with. Where's the New King James or the King James? Yeah, be angry and do not sin. Meditate within your heart on your bed and be still. Selah. And that meditation is not ruminating. It's a slowing movement. So I encourage people, no matter what it is, if it's a biological issue or you're fighting spiritual warfare or any of those things, this is helpful in having a routine where you slow things down. Say you'd like to fall asleep somewhere around 10:30. Then at 9 o'clock, just start slowing things down. Bring the lights down and start slowing down your mind, slowing down your thinking. Breathe a little bit. Take a shower or a bath and allow your body to embrace this is a time to start resting. And we have such hurried lives. I'm losing you. I'm losing the feed here. It's getting away from me. Okay, let me see here. Sarah, it's good to see you. Started watching your videos and lives thanks to my sister, Rachel. Is that the same Rachel that commented over? Let's see, I addressed getting over the ex. Nurture. Listening to a good podcast. Can you share a photo of one of those days? Yeah, but I'd have to do it from my phone. It would take too much work to pull it up into my ask and you shall receive. Okay, this is, so when I was, in 7th grade, I told you about sucking my finger. Let me see if this can show. That's me. I kind of look more Puerto Rican there. Some of you say I look Argentinian. It looks a little bit maybe Argentinian there. I'm trying to hold it straight. But that's me in 7th grade. Okay, so that's not what you asked for. was on staff at. Okay, so I'll show you this one here. I was trying to go with some long hair, and I have to explain the picture. See all those kids there, and you see some of them with like dressed in like, you know, doctor's gowns and stuff like that. That was a church production that we did. And I was up there doing the pastor thing. It was a Christmas play that we did. So they were in, I forget, it was some kind of hospital scene. We were doing this whole production choir and all that. That's me with the long hair. And let's see. This will give you I'm probably a good I'm a good deal heavier here. There's me during the early days of that time with my 3-button suit, and I think I had a vest there too. I don't look happy. And then a couple years later, so this is 19. I have a lot of these photos dated. This is me in Guatemala playing with a monkey. This picture disturbs my wife because she's like, you could have gotten so many diseases. But this is like, this was like my official church staff. And then I think it was put on a Christmas card. So you'll see. Olin Mills. How many of you know what Olin Mills is? So that's 1990. It says it right on there, 1999. That was the church staff, you know, one of those kind of things. Olin Mills comes and then you get like a church directory. And then I'm trying to see if there's any other. You know how I tell you stories about how I've met people, like singers and stuff like that? This is me meeting Matt Powell from Third Day. I tell the story about how I went to their concert and then went over to their bus. And Mac Powell goes, "Hey, you want to hang out with us on the bus?" And I froze. I was like, "Nah, you guys go ahead." I was like, he just asked me to hang out. It could have been so much fun. Any of you Newsboys fans? There's Michael Tate. I actually drove him around. Very nice guy. Like one of the nicest, like relationally kind people. I've met a lot of artists and not that great. Let's see. I got a picture of me here, my brother. I don't know that he'd want me to show pictures of him. I don't know how you feel about that. So let me see if I can find a. This is a picture of me singing, and I have my I have frosted tips in my hair. You can see if I bring it really close. There's a camera. Can the camera handle it? Yeah. That was it. Singing all the time, constantly. And then, this is more like closer to 2005 now. I'm starting to wake up. It's just getting started. I keep a vast array of photos, videos, memories, and I want to give it to my kids so that they'll have that. And this is a picture of Melissa and I. This is shortly before I was going to ask her to marry me, right there. That's us in New York City. Went out there, and you could go to New York City, take a train, be back the same night. That was one thing. Those of you in Connecticut, that was one thing that I did like to do. Although I don't know that New York City seems as great these days, but I haven't been there in a while. But back in the day, you could walk through. I would take a train with my friends from New Haven, Connecticut, all the way down to Grand Central. Get out, and you could walk in Times Square at like midnight, and you'd feel very safe during that time. There was a period of time where it wasn't. I don't know how it is now. But anyways, we went out for the day to New York City, and it was about a month later that I asked her to marry me. So, yep. So that's a little picture tour. God bless you. Mark, you've helped me through a lot, so thank you. I was also curious, is it bad to shame ourselves and downgrade ourselves for our old selves? I used to be a huge people pleaser. And no, I'm not. I'm not a fan of shaming yourself, if that answers your question. Kelly, if I said something weird, I can always rephrase it. If it can. I hear weird things when people talk too, but I have hearing issues, so I have to replay things. Wait. Yes, Warren Hardstein. I had the frosted tips. How did I get out of people pleasing? I don't know that you just get out of it. You grow out of it. You know, and you keep growing. You're always growing out of it. You never arrive. You just learn more and more not to be bound by it and not to serve people pleasing. Son, New York, I sucked my finger way longer than I was supposed to, even a few times in high school. Is it because of lack of nurture? That can be part of it. It can also be like any habit that becomes addictive. It becomes something you go to. You know, Geriosity, God is long suffering. He will suffer along with you as long as you're willing to keep going. Yeah, that's so true. God will work with you. He won't abandon you or give up on you. Yep. He's so faithful, and that's what you'll see more and more in your journey. You look back, you'll see his faithfulness. And you read through all of the Bible, you do see God working with people. And it's so many things. Warren Hardstein. I should start going to bed at 8 or something. You know, those people that have to get up at like 3 a.m. or like bakers. Is what's his name in here? The baker? I don't think he is. His name slips my mind. The one I go, I salute you. Come on, brain. He's a baker. Wonder what time he goes to bed. God bless you. You've helped me grow with Christ, and that I can be me and not what others like as well. People pleasing was my everyday life. You've helped me. Thank you so much. That's great. Kaylee, it's great. It's great to hear. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Without you, I never would have been where I am in my mental health today. That's great. Really cool. Yeah, call me glitter. I want to Mark's playlist on how God, he loved you first. Yep. Greetings from Germany, Mama Bear. I see you talking to each other. Bex to Taha. Yes, that's my best shot. Olas, I see you there. I try to see, why do I experience anxiety? But I just make my emotional state worse. Yes. If when you're anxious, you start fixating on why, it often makes it worse. It's not, the why over time may come to you. It may not. It's more how you react to that. And I encourage you, react with kindness. Hey, I'm anxious right now. It's all right. And what can I do to help? It's more about learning what helps and practicing that. But if I not do it, I think that I'm avoiding the problem. When should we search for why do we feel this? I don't encourage introspection on it, but noticing. Hey, for example, let's say I was anxious today, all day long. I might just notice it. I keep doing what I'm doing, slow things down. What would be helpful for me? Hey, the anxiousness started to go away. Why did it go? Because sometimes I don't even know why it arrived and why it went away. And I'll go, well, I'm doing better. And if there's anything I learn in this, then I learn in it. Morgan EP, can you please answer my question? I don't know what the question is. So, oh, yes. Olaz, that's great. Sorry I didn't have enough space to say thank you for your help. You've helped me a lot in these 2 years. That's awesome. Clementine, question, do you think there's a point where jokes can go too far? Yeah, of course. I've heard so many people to not complain so much after they told a really horrible joke. Really enjoying the stream, by the way. Oh, that's great. Yeah, there's jokes I say that some people get like worked up about and stuff. Sometimes you got to know your audience, but that's the whole nature of jokes, is jokes tend to push the envelope. And sometimes it goes too far. I've had plenty of moments where I realized too far. I'm going to play some more music here so I can have, this coffee's getting cold here. Let me see if I can skip this up in here. Yeah, the coffee's a little on the lukewarm side. That's all right. There is I'll get over to Rumble in just a second too, because when I checked, I didn't see anything, and now I see stuff there. Somebody had a question about how do I distinguish between an idol and a rejection mindset? It's like, I think the topic of idolatry has gotten out of hand in Christianity. I think we call a lot of things idols, and I think it's gotten overboard. Where anything you enjoy, if you enjoy it a lot, it's an idol. And there is context to what they were battling with at that time. I've been doing some research lately about the early church and what they had to put up with. Not put up with, what they had to live in their cities. Paganism was very overt. We have a lot of blessings in being able to practice, at least in my country right now, we're able to practice our faith in areas of the time of the church. They were inundated with actual things that were idols, things dedicated to pagan deity, and they would have ceremonies at meals. And so early Christians had to do a lot of maneuvering where they're like, no, I can't eat that, or I can't, no, I'm not going to do that, because it was in your face, where they had to make some. And so the warning is, John leaves it in the end of his writing, stay away from idols, because it was actual items that represented, which we know is demonic, but it represented pagan deities. And so there was that was really the focus. Now we've turned it into anything that gets between you and God, which, okay, I've taught that, and there's even some wording in some of my older materials about that. But I've stopped using that analogy, because it's this term that becomes an arbitrary blanket over anything. So anyways, I don't think I answered your question, but let me go over to Rumble, because now I see your comments. Katie, what's going on? Why goal H sis P Susan 7991. Welcome, TCTP, and Courtney Laws. What's happening? Yes, this is just a general happy Thanksgiving. Hey, Mark, tell us stories maybe of past holidays. I think I did. Can I ask you a question? It's about passive men. How do you identify if you're being too picky because of ROCD, or it's something to look out for? My boyfriend is still growing his faith and figuring out how to deal with his addictions. Well, if he's got addictions, there's a difference between having addictions but very strongly getting help for it, and having addictions and not getting help. If that would be my recommendation. If somebody who's dating someone who's an addict, they need to be somebody who's really working on recovery. They're going to meetings, they're doing the work, they're getting counsel or whatever. And that's, but being too picky is something you have to come to. There isn't a scale. They're like, not picky. Okay, now you're picky. It's something that people can give you feedback on. And that's why sometimes in the process, you may need to get some therapy feedback of, am I showing signs of fixation on flaws and things like that in an unhealthy way? So I want to show grace, especially because of RCD, but then there's also but isn't this something to look out for, right? Right. So hopefully I answered that. The OCD voice is hilarious. Glad, Katie. It is, does have an
intensity that's a little bit different. It's like very focused. When you have the OCD voice, you got to have eyes that get really intense. This is what an OCDer looks like.
How is everybody? I believe, so TCTP, talking about animals in heaven. It's one of the, you want to talk about triggers? It's one of the top, take it for what it's worth. It's one of the top triggering things in Christianity is animals in heaven. I won't even get into my own experience with teaching on. I mentioned it briefly in some written material I did. Yes, I do read Rumble chats. I'm reading them as of right now. Lucas the Prussian. That's it. Thank you, Courtney Laws. Thank you very much for that. If you look at the Rumble crowd, you know. It's mostly on his spirituality. I've been too caught up in the fear of passive men. So I'm like, oh no, he didn't pray for so many days. He's passive. I would look at what kind of person is he. Let me refresh Rumble here because the OCD voice sounds like a teenager. Yes, like a congested one.
Right, like like I got a little bit of a congestion. Mom, can I go out? Can I go out with my friends? Why don't you let me go out with my friends? You guys are so mean. You don't let me do anything.
Courtney, it's okay. It's okay. I'm here. When Melissa's on here, she'll have to wait. I got frozen out of YouTube, so I couldn't even keep up with that. Okay, so Susan, it's about his spirituality. I'm like, no, he didn't pray for so many days, but I actually spoke to him and he said, yeah, Susan, I would have a very good conversation with him about his addiction struggles, because when you're dating someone who has significant addictions, they need to be somebody who's working on things. Otherwise, it makes it very challenging. And I would get some feedback and counsel from people that are in your tribe or people that have input. Courtney, you finished the OCD healing journey. Awesome. Very helpful. And Courtney, I've read through all the Rumble now. I have officially read through it. Then now YouTube's going to yell at me. You're not answering my question. It would be really cool if you had a Discord community. I won't. I can't stand Discord. I can't stand using it. I don't like anything about it. It's chaos. I've joined other Discord groups. It's chaos. Like I need, even over time, even live chats can sometimes start moving so fast. And I like to take my time and just interact. Somebody's worried about, is it a sin to be associated with something that may have been stolen? That's a very broad statement. Like stole a pencil or stole a car? Stole a sticky note or stole a boat? Stole a crayon? Yeah, I use things that I find usable. So I use Rumble, but I am frustrated with Rumble's interface. It's very clunky. And even when people write comments, it's very spammy. I get a lot of spammy comments. And it's just very clunky how the commercials keep coming through. And YouTube works a lot better, although there's frustrations on the YouTube side too. But yeah, Discord for me it's not a great. Nothing's perfect though. The OCD teenager voice needs some nasal spray.
Yes, this is true. Maybe I should just read all the comments in this voice. I feel like with this voice, I want to trail off at the end like that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I was told I have OCD and my friends were like, whatever. And I told my mom, please stop telling me that I need help and that I have too much drama going on.
What are your tips for having a YouTube channel? Just do it. If you want to do it, just do it. Just be ready for a lot of work and be ready for no one listening for a long time. Don't pay attention to the stats. Don't pay attention to to the metrics. I don't get lost in that. I'm actually just starting now to go, oh, okay, there's some things that I can pay attention to in the stats, and maybe some things I could help in how I, distribute content and stuff like that. But I've been on, it'll tell you, how long have I officially been on YouTube? Let me look here. I'm going to look myself up because it tells you in the 2010. So it's 14 years. I'd say like the first 8 to 10 years of either nobody or hardly anybody listening. And during that time, it filters out like anybody can start a YouTube channel, but it's actually a lot harder than people realize, and it weeds out the people that are not really in it to win it, in the sense, like the same thing with book writing. Everybody wants to write a book, and I had all these friends writing books. And I'm gonna, be a New York Times bestseller and all that stuff, and eventually it fades away because it's actually very difficult. No one reads your book. No one cares about your book. And that's how, that I don't say that to be shameful. I say that I embrace that. And in the early days, like nobody's listening. Nobody's really like, nobody cares. I don't mean like nobody cares about me. I mean like no one cares that I have stuff put out there. And so that I embraced it because I said, well, if no one's listening, then I'm just going to do this and practice being me. And then over time began to find what works for me as far as the content I like to provide and the way I like to present it. And then also finding how people digest things. But if you want to start a channel, just start it. But most people get discouraged because they put out a couple videos and they didn't get, this many hits. And you can't get lost in that. You can't get lost in that, and you can't get lost in trolling comments and stuff like that too. But like people, plus a lot of trolling comments aren't even real human beings either. You have to remember that. A lot of them are bots. Sometimes you have to remember that because you think you're actually interacting with a human, and and it's not all the time. Nicholas Mayer, I'm glad the books and videos have helped. Glitter, I don't realize when I'm doing it. You've been hard on yourself your whole life. Yeah. I have to replace it with something positive. I don't know what that is yet. You replace it with a loving, compassionate response is what you do. You think about a friend that you love or somebody in your life that you love. How would you respond to them? Well, respond that way towards yourself. And you start to be more aware. Cade Kangas, what's going on? Just popping in real quick to say happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for all you do, Mark and Melissa. May God continue to bless you and your ministry, which reflects his awesome grace. It's awesome, brother. Great to see you. Hope things in Florida are going well. Will there be a time where you do a Bible study in the gospel or the whole New Testament? Maybe. I do have books. I do have books of the Bible that I want to teach through. But I have other like topics and things going on, so it'll be in due time. Oh, good. No more hurricanes. That's good. Nicole Barboza, good to see you. Alexandria, not the bots. Bots better back off. Back up a little bit because when I went over to Rumble, the people in Rumble were developing rejection issues, so I had to pop over. Yeah, okay, so he has a porn addiction. Gotcha. So he's currently working on it. All right, he's getting help for it. It's important because marriage doesn't solve porn addiction. And some people think that it does. It doesn't. Okay. Where was I? Over here. But going back, Rachel Grace, when you were asking about YouTube channel, it can help if your channel focus is specific. The more specific you can get, the better it helps identify the people that want that kind of thing. So, but a lot of people don't know that. You figure it out. When I first started, yes, it was mental health stuff, but it was kind of more in what I would call like a general heart healing kind of thing. Because when you go into a church and teach, like I'm here to talk about mental health, they're like, in the early 2000s, like, what are you talking about? Go to your counselor. Yeah. That's how it was. A lot's changed. If you go into a church now and say, I want to talk in today's sermon about anxiety, no one would be. But when I would go in, I'm bringing a struggle everybody has, example like anxiety, but it was kind of foreign at the time. So as I began to just continue to stay at it, I was able to stay in the focus. And then when I came out more about the obsessive compulsive battleground specifically, that's when in 2019 going into 20, I really was wanting to go down that lane. That's when I started to feel like I'm more in the lane that I was made. And that was in my mid 40s. So all of those of you that are hyperventilating over finding your calling, it's not really like you find it and then do it. It's more like you just learn in the journey, take advantage and take steps and try it. Put some videos on YouTube, see what happens. And then you're like, I hated that. And like any of that. Or you go, I was a bit nervous, but that was kind of fun. And then I stumbled into doing lives, and there was a couple times I did it by accident. I was just testing my system, and people were coming into the chat, and then I just started talking to them. And if you go way back into, I think it was like 2020, you'll see me trying to figure out my settings because my internet connection was glitchy, and I had to figure out how to get better equipment, stuff like that. I just sit there and test, and people come into the comments, and the next thing I'm doing Q&As. So I was like, this is fun. We should do that. So a lot of things I discovered along the way. Yeah, stolen crayon and stolen car. That can get out of hand really easily. The whole idea of I use something stolen. That can get really out of hand. YouTube is my favorite app. It has its downfalls, but I prefer we have a choice to click on long form content. Yeah. Alexandria, that's kind of how I am. I have lots of things. I prefer giving long form content. That's what I prefer. Like, you want to give me a topic? I want to spend time breaking it down. I want to have a mentoring, teaching kind of thing. But I understand people are like, give me the 10-minute video. So I do some of that too, because I'm meeting the audience where they're at. But ideally, that's what I enjoy. I enjoy the longer form. I put some work on it, deeper dives. The OCD teenager's a valley girl. Yeah, JC, a congested one. Jabre7, I don't think I saw your question. I could look up Jabre. Jabre, you aren't enough. Yeah, I don't know. Meeting people where they're at while doing what you like is a good way to do it. Yes, Alexandria. I've been on a long journey of that. And I've had a lot of experience in different ways. I like to communicate. I have some dreams in my heart of like studio sets that I can have different stations to communicate certain things, some stand-up, some multi-camera, some sit-down podcasts. At some point, that I have some more space to do that and be able to express it in that way. But all right, Kate, I think I missed your earlier statement. Your vulnerability about the lives not going as planned was a blessing to all the rest of us who also have OCD. Yeah. Back in 2020, that is, yeah. And there's still a bit of that now. So today I had nothing on my mind. I had a blank, no agenda. I didn't have any questions, nothing in front of me. Just go on. And that is something that's been good for me because it helps me to exercise that letting go of perfectionism, but also like the control issues that we have. Because people like vulnerability too, but it's not exactly easy. Maximus Mark, are you going to check out the new Gladiator movie? Yes. Can you tell me anything about it? Is it good? Because the first one was amazing. Might be Gladiator 1 is pretty close to a perfect movie as far as like plot and everything. I listen to the movie soundtrack to this day. The Battle is what it's called. It's a track on the Gladiator soundtrack. I've written a lot of book material just listening to that. It's amazing. Kevin! Hope you and your family had a great day tomorrow. I want to add one thing at the end of your live streams. Would it be possible to end it with prayer? Would you feel disturbed if I didn't? Because if you're an OCDer, I may not pray. I can definitely pray for you. I pray for you right now, Kevin. Tell me one thing that you need prayer for. Put it in the comments. And I'll pray for you right now. Because I may forget and then close. And then I may, never remember to pray. On the stream. Hi, Mark. I get anxious and sad each time my mother cuts contact for several months. Oh, I'm sorry. She does splitting and seems, wow, that is painful. It is painful to accept the lack of empathy. How can I cope? It's a journey. It's grieving. A lot of grieving, a lot of work. It's work of the heart. Learning to accept that's where she's at and then having to, in a way, go on with your life where you don't have to feed her patterns. Cade. Okay, this is a different Cade. Okay, there's Cade. Cade, Kangas, that's the S6 and another Cade. Okay, gotcha. Did you make sure you had the same walk with God before you decided to spend the rest of your life with your spouse? Only answer if you feel comfortable. Sure, I can answer that. Yeah, but yes, but not necessarily in the way people would evaluate. I wasn't interrogating her. I wasn't like, what do you believe about the Trinity and the Godhead and the vicarious atonement? What's the substitutionary atonement position that you carry? Do you believe in premillennial and postmillennial? Do you it wasn't that kind of thing. But she was at the church that I was working at. So at first I was able to observe, we were able to observe each other I was, obviously at the church all the time. We would interact. She's on her journey. I'm on my journey. And so that's where in a church setting, it can be good to just get to know someone. There isn't that weight. You kind of go to the same, Bible class, or you go to the same group, or you go to the same events and you bump into each other. So I was able to see that she had a passion for wanting to work on her life. And she really felt aligned with where I was going with my journey. And I told her that if you, I'm going to be taking some big steps, and some of this is going to be risky. I'm going to be starting over, and especially when I left the church I was working at. And I was like, I truly understand if you're like, this is not for me. But she was very responsive to me saying, this is where I feel to lead us, and this is where I feel to go. And we work at how that's the thing that many of the questions come in is the key to a long-term successful marriage is compatibility. You gotta be compatible. And it's like, yeah, but it's not in the way many people take that. Long-term, yes, you want to be on the same page with your faith in the sense of like how you approach the things of God. So I think in your dating life, it's good to talk through worldview. You talk about the news. How do you both react to it? What are your thoughts on it? Have discussions on it. And how do you approach the things of God? You get into an argument. What do you do as a couple? Do you apologize? You come back, work through forgiveness? Can you pray together? It's kind of like you learn those things. But it's not like a checkbox list kind of thing. Clementine says goodbye. Peace out. Yeah. Posting on YouTube is challenging with being perfectionistic. Tell me about it. It's why I leave a lot of mistakes in my videos. There's some that I'll edit, but sometimes I just leave them in there and go, whatever. That lets me work out. Where's Levi at? Oh, he's in the house. He's sleeping. Oh, I see, Kevin. Oh, you're Kevin. Your heart is great. Yeah, grieving a mother who's still alive is hard. Yes, because she's hot and cold. Yeah, that takes a toll on your emotions. No consistency. Hey, Mark, do you have any material regarding scrupulosity and romance? N.E. Pyro, that's pretty much most of my channel. I desire godly marriage, but romance and physical attraction and affection feels like heresy. Well, it's not. It's awesome. It's awesome to have a desire for romance, to be attracted. And yes, there's guidelines in what that looks like, but it's a wonderful thing. So if it feels like heresy, is a lot of shame combined with unnecessary religious guilt and maybe some bad experiences too. Lexi, it's good to see you. Just coming on here to say I love you, Mark. I love you too, Lexi. It's great. Great to see you. God bless and happy Thanksgiving to you and the fam. Same to you. And keep walking the married journey. Keep walking it. Something I had to learn the hard way was OCD essentially tries to gaslight you. Yeah. It's kind of a way of saying it. Yeah. Saying you can't trust your own memory and perception of event. Yep. Yep. It's a bully. Runar, hello there. In fact, I could probably start winding things down. Gonna kind of close the day out for me here. I'm gonna close this book work. I don't need to do any more writing today. I'm kind of written out today. I'll come back to it Friday. Hope you guys have good plans for tomorrow. And if you don't, or if you're by yourself, or if holidays are difficult, that's what I want to pray about. I would like to pray for everyone who is who has the holidays coming up, whether it's here in the States with Thanksgiving or the holidays that you have or Christmas coming up, that I want to pray for that. And Father, I stir that up right now in Jesus' name. I pray for all my brothers and sisters that are battling with loneliness or battling with the idea of getting together with family is nerve-wracking, and everybody wants to be able to have just this picturesque kind of experience. And Father, I ask that you would grant us a deeper connection of grace, being kind to ourselves in the journey, realizing we're not alone with you. You're always with us. And so I pray we'd give that kindness to ourselves in that. I pray that that many would take the time to pause on days off that they have, to actually pause, to not fill it in with more busyness, fill it in with more work. But Father, that we would connect to the be still and know that you are God, that we would rest in that and practice that with all the spinning and all the ruminating and all the worry and all the, yeah, but what if, and all the shame and all the guilt. God, we would find our place in resting in you. So I thank you just so much for that. I thank you so much for that, Father. And I bless everyone in this broadcast in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, y'all. That's a good, where are we at here? Couple hours? That's nice. It was nice meeting with y'all. Well, I'm going to send us out on an outro, and we'll be back on Sunday. Lord willing, the creek don't rise. It's your brother from another mother saying, I'll be back. I'll be back.
I will be back. I will be back, maybe, if my mom lets me. Mom!
Be back with more insights. Yo, healing and freedom journey. You know the rest. In the meantime, I'm out.